Speaking of selfish, Mo'Nique and DL Hughley, Lord have mercy. She about to scratch his eyes out. What is going on there? Jay, is this an appropriate way for her to be demonstrating her issues?
Let's recap.
Take it away.
So Mo'Nique had an engagement, a contract to perform at this thing that DL Hughley's production company was involved in. She believed that she was going to be headlining, that she didn't end up headlining because she was upset that she wasn't headlining. She went on stage. She's paid to go out there and tell jokes, right? She goes out there and just like shits all over DL Hughley, and she's mad at him or whatever because she believes she was done wrong. First,
shit on him is an understatement. Yeah, it's an understatement. She went off on him.
Yes,
she went off. But go ahead.
I was just going to point out, like, her contract, if she believes she was done wrong by her contract, her husband is her manager. He's done a horrible job of managing her career. Her husband is the one who either wrote the contract or at least told her that the contract was satisfactory.
Your girl lost her mind. So I watched the segment of her speaking on it on the stage.
What are some the things she said?
I'll tell you some of the things she didn't say. Jokes. She spent most of the time just shitting on DL Hughley. And fine, if your issues with him, I guess that's a forum you can use. What I thought was not in good taste was the fact that she went in on his wife and his daughter and brought up some personal issues that the family has gone through and used that as ammo on the stage against DL Hughley. Now, I know she has her issues with him, whatever those issues are, fine, contract, lineup, whatever. But the personal attacks I thought were in very poor taste. She talked about his wife sucking the dick of a coward and brought up a situation that he has spoken about before where his daughter told him about a sexually inappropriate incident that she experienced and he wasn't informed enough or evolved enough to have an appropriate conversation. And I guess that's some distasteful things to his daughter, which he and his family have already worked through. He's already discussed. And in the midst of this rant that Mo'Nique went on, she brought all that up on stage. And for me personally, first of all, I was just like, where's the joke? Like, it just seemed like she was venting to her homegirl more than putting on a performance. And I think part of the reason she did that is because she didn't seem to have any jokes. Real talk. Like, she didn't have any jokes. The whole like, it's old. Like, basically she was exhibit A of Kevin Samuel's point. She was loud. She was over the top. And had she been funny about it, I think it would have helped her case more. But she wasn't funny about it. She just basically went on stage and went off on him to the crowd. There weren't any jokes.
Yeah. And this was a comedy show. All right. There were comedians before and after her. She expected to be the last person on the stage.
Right. And if you're the last person, then people expect you to tell jokes. And she basically spent the first 15 minutes just shitting on DL Hughley.
Yeah.
And he responded. I mean, he basically called her a monster and said the role that she won the Oscar for in Precious was not her acting. That was her being herself. And you know me, you and I have had this conversation before. I feel like Black people win Oscars for the shittiest roles ever. So she won for Precious, shittiest Black mother ever on TV. Halle Berry wins an Oscar for what? Getting fucked by a Klansman. And Denzel Washington gets an Oscar for acting like the most ignorant character he's ever played in his entire career. To me, those aren't wins. Those are insults. And it's rewarding the bad behavior, right? It's rewarding the stereotype. It's rewarding exactly what we are trying to demonstrate ourselves through art as differently. So to me, I hated that movie Precious for the same reason I hate Django, for the same reason I hate Training Day. It is the epitome of every negative stereotype combined into one and then with cocaine sprinkled on it.
I think it might have been crack.
It's the best of our like the Oscar is supposed to be the highest award of excellence. And you're telling me the highest award of acting excellence was Mo'Nique in Precious?
If anything, Gabrielle Sidibe did a better job, but star versus
Thank you.
Supporting.
And I agree with you there. She did do better than Mo'Nique. To me, Mo'Nique's acting was exactly what Kevin Samuels talks about. And that's what she demonstrated on stage. She was running up and down the stage in those heels. And DL, your wife is sucking the dick of a coward. I was like, why you bring his wife into it? Like, and bring his kid into it and the sexual assault. And for me, maybe there was a time and a place to say that, but as a comedian during a lineup, for me, that place wasn't the place to say it. If there is a place to say it at all, that wasn't it.
I would say for anyone who's listening, check out what Corey Holcomb had to say about this as well. It's all over the internet.
Corey Holcomb says she got the head of a rhino. I died.
Yeah. And he pointed out that, like, you know, she doesn't have any jokes because her material always revolved around her being fat and sex and the dichotomy of those things. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and those are kind of old.
I might squash your head. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Like, all of it was like, okay, I'm going to do like some kind of raunchy sex joke, but it's going to be funny because I'm fat. Ha, 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 ha.
Right. And that's done. It's been done. You know, that was all of the 2000s. I mean,
and the 90s, the queens of comedy and shit.
Yeah. I mean, that routine has been done. It's been done by her. It's been done.
She's a legend because of it, but fuck.
Right. But you've got, again, I think the problem seems to be her management, whoever that is, whatever that is. For what she's accomplished, she should be doing better. But it seems like, you know, she's had beef with Oprah. She's had beef with Tyler Perry. She's had beef with DL Hughley. She's had beef with Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey isn't even wasting time with her.
Yeah.
Steve Harvey's like, I'm not even going to waste my time saying anything about this bitch because I'm cooking. I got bigger fish to fry. I don't think it's a good look. Again, maybe there is a platform for where she could have voiced her discontent. That platform didn't seem to be it. I don't see why bringing his family into it was appropriate.
Yeah. I got one Mo'Nique story from when I was interning with a production company long before Berkeley and shit, you know, right after I dropped out of film school, where, you know, they were working on some movie that had her, like, you know, tentatively attached to the extent that they just had an LOI, you know, just confirming that she's interested in this.
Okay.
And that LOI, the wording on that kind of substantiates all of this shit. The wording on that is signed by Mo'Nique and her, like, management company. And it said, like, you know, blah, 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 interested in this, basically, but only if you pay me, you know, a salary that will be commensurate with my status in the entertainment industry. And I always found, like, you know, that specific wording, like, you know, commensurate with my status in the entertainment industry, you know, instead of saying something around like market rate or like my status in the entertainment industry. I was like, wow, like maybe it's an insecurity or something.
Well, it is, right? Like it's like the guy at the party being like, did I mention I'm rich? I mean, you're telling us that because for some reason you fear we may not have deduced that any other way other than you saying that. Having said that, Black women from the beginning of time in this country specifically have had to fight for what they're worth. I think that's a big part of what is the foundation of Mo'Nique's anger, is that she's probably not getting what she's been worth with all that she has accomplished. And I hear that. And my heart can you know, resonate with that.
Mm-hmm.
But just like anything else, there's a time and a place and there's a way to do things. I don't know if that was the best way for her. We'll see whose careers move forward and whose don't. DL Hughley has shows. Steve Harvey's doing his little shows. Everybody's got stuff lined up. I don't know what she's got lined up, but I hope whatever it is good. I think she was supposed to be working with 50 Cent on his show. Some show he's got coming out. He's going to throw her a bone and work with her.
Tyler Perry was supposed to be throwing her a bone too.
Right. But as far as we know, DL Hughley, Steve Harvey's done with her.
Right. Like she's gone so scorched earth that that Black Hollywood might not fuck with her anymore. And, you know, there was some sympathy when she kind of foolishly told niggas to boycott Netflix because Netflix, you know, offered her a deal that only was going to pay her, I believe, like $500,000. This is back in like 2010 or something.
Right.
And she was mad because, like, she has an Oscar, Amy Schumer doesn't, and Amy Schumer got like $1 million for a comedy special or something.
Right. And I can understand the frustration of that. I mean, I get it. It's not lost on me that you accomplish certain things. Mm-hmm. You expect to be treated a certain way, you know, and Black women are still fighting for their moment in the sun. They're still fighting for equal pay, for equal work, and they're not getting it. And there's no disputing that. But again, there's a way to go about doing things, especially in the industry where you are not the gatekeeper. The gatekeepers are the gatekeepers and the people behind the scenes. And you've got to be able to navigate that territory as well. So good luck, Mo'Nique. I hope it was worth it.
Scorched earth. Do you want to be right, or do you want to keep working and getting this money and still be famous and relevant, or do you want to feel like you're right? And I told these motherfuckers they ain't gonna mess with me, and
and you're right, and now they're not gonna mess with you, and now you're unemployed.
Right.
So now what? So you won the battle, but you lost the war.
Yeah, like Mo'Nique might end up teaching theater somewhere, like at some fucking high school. Like, I don't know how it ends for her at this point.
Right, and it really shouldn't end that way with all that she's accomplished. But she's developing this reputation of just not getting along with anybody. So at a certain point, nobody wants to be the tip of the arrow at these types of outbursts, right? Nobody wants to have their families attacked. Nobody wants to have their family business dragged out on the street. The stuff that she brought up about his daughter being sexually assaulted, she was trying to make it sound like, I'm here to fight for Black women. That's not why you brought that up. You were mad about your contract. Mm-hmm. You didn't get up on that stage waving a flag for Black women. You got up on that stage because you were pissed about your contract.
Yeah.
And while I get the argument that Black women need to be paid and treated equally for the work that they provide is a genuine argument substantiated by data that we are not getting paid and treated equally, bringing up his daughter's sexual assault, I don't know how that moves the needle. I found it tasteless. I mean, how does that help me in the workplace?
Yeah, tasteless. Precisely.
Tasteless. Even if she was right, it was tasteless.
Yeah. And, Mo'Nique's probably had to deal with more shit than anybody else has.
I don't doubt it.
Probably been told
and that's probably why she's so pissed.
In boardrooms and shit that we would find unconscionable.
Absolutely. And that's probably why she's so pissed. But the argument, she needs to start having that conversation with her man.
That's your manager.
That's your manager and your attorney. That's where that conversation starts. And if she wants to go off on DL Hughley, then she could have done that backstage to his face, not on stage in lieu of real jokes.